Hello everyone. Crimea is not just land. It's Russia's key to military power, economic control, and survival. From the Black Sea to strategic ports, Crimea shapes Russia's strength in the region. Stay tuned as we break down why this peninsula is the ultimate game changer for Moscow. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most critical regions in modern geopolitics, Crimea. For Russia, Crimea is more than just a peninsula. It is a center of power, control, and survival. Strategically located on the northern coast of the Black Sea, Crimea provides Russia with unmatched military advantages. Its ports allow naval dominance in the Black Sea and access to the Mediterranean. Economically, Crimea supports trade routes, energy control, and tourism, though tourism is secondary to its strategic importance. Politically, holding Crimea asserts Russia's influence over Ukraine and the wider region. The annexation in 2014 shocked the world and demonstrated Russia's commitment to maintaining control. Militarily, the peninsula hosts advanced missile systems, air bases, and naval facilities. These installations help Russia project power far beyond its borders. Crimea also functions as a buffer zone against NATO's eastern expansion. Socially and historically, the region is tied to Russian identity, reinforcing political narratives at home. Losing Crimea would not just be a territorial loss, but a significant blow to national pride and strategic security. In this video, we will explore 10 key reasons why Crimea is indispensable to Russia's military, economic, and political ambitions. From military positioning to resources, Crimea remains central to Russia's survival strategy. Crimea's location is unmatched for military strategy. Sitting on the Black Sea, it gives Russia a gateway to the Mediterranean and beyond. Naval fleets based here can respond quickly to regional threats. The peninsula hosts major Russian naval bases, including Sevastopol, which is home to the Black Sea Fleet. These bases are critical for Russia's maritime operations, power projection, and regional influence. Air bases across Crimea allow rapid deployment of fighter jets, bombers, and drones. Russia can monitor NATO movements and respond to threats in Eastern Europe, the Caucasus, and the Middle East. Coastal artillery and missile systems enhance Crimea's defensive posture. With modern radar and surveillance, Russia maintains near total control of air and sea routes around the Black Sea. The peninsula also allows for secure supply lines and troop movement, crucial during conflicts. Beyond military positioning, Crimea helps Russia test new weapons systems in a strategic environment. Military exercises in Crimea demonstrate strength to both allies and adversaries. Russia's presence deters neighboring states from taking aggressive actions. Losing Crimea would force Russia to rethink its Black Sea strategy, significantly reducing its ability to project power. In summary, Crimea is not just territory, it is a military linchpin, enabling Russia to maintain regional dominance while safeguarding national security. Without Crimea, Russia's influence across Eastern Europe and the Mediterranean would be severely compromised. Russia's naval strength depends heavily on Crimea. The Black Sea Fleet, headquartered in Sevastopol, is central to Moscow's maritime strategy. Control of the fleet ensures Russia dominates the Black Sea, influencing trade, military operations, and regional politics. From Crimea, Russia can deploy ships to the Mediterranean, Eastern Europe, and even North Africa. Submarines stationed in Crimea carry advanced missiles, capable of hitting distant targets. Surface vessels, including destroyers and frigates, extend Russian influence across regional waters. Naval exercises in Crimea enhance readiness and showcase power to the international community. Port access in Crimea allows repair, resupply, and modernization of naval vessels. This makes the peninsula a self-sufficient hub for maritime operations. Beyond warships, Crimea hosts coastal defense systems that control access to critical sea lanes. NATO and regional powers constantly monitor Russian movements from Crimea, highlighting its strategic importance. Control over Crimea also ensures Russia can influence energy transportation routes through the Black Sea. This includes pipelines, shipping lanes, and maritime trade, which directly affect Europe's energy security. Losing Crimea would strip Russia of its most critical Black Sea foothold. Naval dominance is not just a military concept. It is about regional control, economic leverage, and strategic deterrence. Crimea remains central to Russia's ability to dominate the Black Sea and extend its reach into global waters. Crimea is not only strategic, but also economically significant for Russia. The peninsula has natural resources, including oil, gas, and minerals, which help fuel Russia's economy. Agriculture in Crimea contributes to food production and supports local industries. Tourism, though reduced after 2014, still generates income and employment. Ports in Crimea handle trade, shipping, and energy transport across the Black Sea. Control over these ports allows Russia to regulate imports, exports, and regional logistics. Crimea also plays a role in energy security. Pipelines and fuel storage facilities support both domestic and military operations. Fishing industries provide resources for local communities and contribute to the regional economy. Economic sanctions have limited Crimea's development, yet Russia continues to invest heavily in infrastructure. Bridges, roads, and energy projects link Crimea more closely with mainland Russia. Economic control over Crimea ensures Russia can influence regional trade routes and maintain leverage over Ukraine. The peninsula also offers opportunities for strategic partnerships in energy, shipping, and commerce. Losing Crimea would not only reduce economic resources, but also weaken Russia's influence over the Black Sea's economic landscape. Russia's investment in Crimea demonstrates the peninsula's long-term importance. Ultimately, Crimea is a hub for military, political, and economic strength, making it a cornerstone of Russia's survival and regional ambitions. Politically, Crimea is central to Russia's influence in the region. Annexing Crimea in 2014 sent a clear message: Moscow prioritizes its territorial and strategic interests. The peninsula serves as a buffer against Western influence, especially NATO and EU expansion into Eastern Europe. Controlling Crimea allows Russia to project power over Ukraine and neighboring states. It strengthens Moscow's bargaining position in international diplomacy, providing leverage in negotiations over security, trade, and regional conflicts. Crimea also reinforces internal political narratives. The Russian government presents the peninsula as historically and culturally Russian, boosting national pride and domestic legitimacy. Political control over Crimea helps Russia suppress dissent in nearby regions and maintain a strong regional presence. It allows for monitoring and controlling maritime, air, and land borders in the Black Sea region. The peninsula serves as a hub for intelligence operations, regional administration, and political coordination. Losing Crimea would be a severe political blow, undermining Russia's authority and regional influence. It could embolden opposition within Russia and encourage rival nations to challenge Moscow's strategic objectives. Therefore, Crimea is far more than a territory. It is a symbol of political strength, regional control, and strategic survival. Holding Crimea ensures that Russia can maintain its influence over Ukraine and safeguard its national interests in the wider Black Sea area. Energy is another key reason why Crimea matters to Russia. The peninsula is near vital offshore oil and gas reserves in the Black Sea. Control over these resources enhances Russia's energy independence and strengthens its regional influence. Pipelines and fuel storage in Crimea support domestic and military operations. Energy infrastructure here allows Moscow to control regional energy routes and limit Western influence. Crimea's energy access is vital for naval operations, powering ports, air bases, and military installations. Renewable energy projects are also in development, providing long-term strategic benefits. Beyond oil and gas, Crimea has mineral resources, agriculture, and fisheries, contributing to local and regional economies. These resources reduce dependence on imports and create economic resilience under sanctions. Energy control reinforces Russia's bargaining power internationally, as energy exports remain a key tool for influencing Europe and neighboring regions. Losing Crimea would weaken Russia's energy strategy, limit access to crucial reserves, and compromise its ability to project power in the Black Sea. Moscow invests heavily in infrastructure, pipelines, and ports to solidify Crimea's role in energy production. This combination of resources, infrastructure, and strategic location makes Crimea indispensable for Russia's long-term survival, economic stability, and regional dominance. In short, energy and resources are critical pillars of Russia's strategy in Crimea. Crimea holds deep historical and cultural significance for Russia. The region was part of the Russian Empire for centuries, making it symbolically important for national identity. Many Russians view Crimea as an inseparable part of their history, culture, and heritage. Religious and cultural sites, including Orthodox Christian landmarks, reinforce the connection between Russia and Crimea. The peninsula is also central to narratives about Russian resilience, military victories, and geopolitical influence. Politically, invoking history strengthens public support for Crimea's annexation and Moscow's regional policies. Schools, media, and government programs emphasize Crimea's Russian identity, reinforcing national pride. This cultural connection helps legitimize military and political investments in the region. For Moscow, losing Crimea would be more than a strategic setback. It would be a symbolic defeat. Historical and cultural narratives also play a role in foreign policy, influencing regional diplomacy and interactions with neighboring countries. Russia uses Crimea's history to justify its presence, frame military actions, and assert influence over Ukraine and Eastern Europe. The intertwining of history, culture, and politics makes Crimea more than territory. It becomes an essential component of Russia's national story. Maintaining control ensures Moscow preserves not just strategic advantage, but also cultural identity and political legitimacy in the eyes of its citizens and allies. Crimea functions as a critical buffer zone for Russia. Geographically, it protects southern Russia and secures the northern Black Sea coast. Militarily, it separates Russia from NATO forces in Eastern Europe and acts as an early warning zone. Missile systems, radar, and air defenses in Crimea provide a shield against potential attacks. The peninsula also allows Russia to station troops, equipment, and supplies close to key borders. Politically, Crimea's presence deters neighboring states from aggressive moves, reinforcing regional stability in Moscow's favor. Economically, the buffer ensures control over trade routes, ports, and energy access. Strategically, it gives Russia flexibility to respond to crises in Ukraine, the Caucasus, and the wider Black Sea region. Buffer zones historically reduce vulnerability and increase strategic depth, and Crimea is a textbook example. Losing Crimea would expose southern Russia to potential threats, weaken Black Sea control, and compromise military readiness. For Moscow, maintaining Crimea ensures both defense and influence, acting as a protective layer while projecting power outward. The combination of geography, military assets, and political influence makes Crimea a vital buffer zone, essential to Russia's survival, regional dominance, and long-term security strategy. It is the first line of defense and a launchpad for operations in critical areas. Crimea boosts Russia's international influence. Controlling the peninsula allows Moscow to negotiate from strength in diplomacy. Crimea affects relations with NATO, the EU, and neighboring states. Russia's military and naval presence projects power beyond its borders, sending a clear message to allies and rivals. The peninsula allows Russia to influence maritime trade, energy routes, and security policy across the Black Sea. Crimea's status also affects sanctions, arms deals, and regional alignments. By holding Crimea, Russia can challenge Western policies, assert its geopolitical priorities, and maintain strategic leverage. The region also serves as a testing ground for military hardware, operations, and tactics. Crimea demonstrates Russia's willingness to defend core interests and signals strength to both domestic and international audiences. Losing the peninsula would weaken Moscow's negotiating position, reduce global leverage, and embolden opponents. Control over Crimea, therefore, goes beyond local dominance. It strengthens Russia's global stance. Internationally, the peninsula remains a key chess piece in power dynamics, economic influence, and security strategy. Maintaining control ensures Russia retains a voice in critical regional and global decisions. Crimea is, in many ways, the linchpin of Russia's international influence and a symbol of Moscow's determination to remain a major global power. In conclusion, Crimea is central to Russia's survival. It combines military, economic, political, and cultural significance into one strategic hub. Losing Crimea would weaken Russia's naval power, reduce energy access, and compromise regional influence. The peninsula ensures military readiness, protects borders, and allows projection of power far beyond its territory. Politically, it reinforces national identity, supports domestic legitimacy, and strengthens international bargaining power. Economically, Crimea contributes to trade, resources, and infrastructure projects that support Russia's long-term stability. Culturally and historically, it connects the Russian population to a shared past, reinforcing cohesion and pride. Strategically, Crimea acts as a buffer zone, deterring potential threats and maintaining Black Sea dominance. For Moscow, the peninsula is indispensable in planning, diplomacy, and security operations. Every investment in Crimea, military, economic, and infrastructure, reflects its critical importance. In short, Crimea is more than territory, it is a lifeline for Russia's power, control, and survival. Without it, Russia risks losing strategic depth, influence, and national prestige. If you found this analysis insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for updates on breaking geopolitical news and deep dive analyses. Stay informed, stay ahead.